Alright, so this video I'm going to do just the basic how to clean your paint gun. Just got done painting, you want to clean it out. What I use these blue rags. They're pretty cheap, they're like Boxel Rags is the brand or whatever, you get them at any parts store. They work really good, they're cheap. The problem is they're kind of a paper. They're more durable than a paper towel, but they are a paper, so they will leave lint. So you have to be aware of that. You're going to want to get yourself a good blowgun, and I'll explain why. What I typically do when I'm done painting something is I'll dump my excess paint. If you want to try and save it, or if you just have a little bit, dump it into an old paint can. You can, if you don't have any extras, you can buy used ones, or not used, but you can buy brand new ones at like a hardware store, probably like $2 or something. When you do clean out your gun and you have all this extra lacquer thinner and paint and stuff, dispose of it properly. Don't just dump it down your drain. There are typically, like at your landfill site or your local dump or somewhere within your, around where you live, that should have something that will accept hazardous waste. So take it there and dispose of it properly. So you got your paint in there, dump out your excess, take one of these rags, get as much out as you can, and then from there use lacquer thinner or acetone if you're using any kind of enamel or acrylic or any kind of automotive paint. If you use paint thinner or mineral spirits, it's not going to work. I know a guy that tried using, I don't remember which one it was, but all it did was gum up everything in his gun. That stuff's made for like oil-based house paint and whatnot. So lacquer thinner or acetone, they both work very well. They're about the same price. I think acetone might be slightly stronger. So dump a little bit into your cup, swish it around, and you're going to have paint on the bottom of your cap. Put your cap on, swish it around, get a bunch of it out. Start running it through. Just pull the trigger. You don't have to have the air hose hooked up. Just pull the trigger, let it run out. You'll see it start to get clearer and clearer. Basically what you want to do is get all of the old paint out of your gun. What I will usually do after I run it through a bunch of times, cleaning up the gun. One trick you can do also is called percolating your gun. You take your air cap off and screw it so it's just barely holding on by the threads. And if you pull the trigger all the way back, the air will actually feed back through the gun and percolate it up and kind of just agitate the paint. The thing is if you don't have the cap on, it kind of comes spraying out, so don't be looking at it because you can get it in the eye and that's not good. So you got the paint out of the cup for the most part. You know, you got it all good and clean. You don't want to see any paint on the inside. You run it through a few times, it's starting to come out clear. If you decide to take the gun apart to clean all the little bits and pieces, the air cap just screws off. I have these little, I found that you have to buy Dart brand plastic cups, because if you buy Solo, the solvents in the paint and or this stuff will just eat right through it. So Dart brand, these little cups will stand up to the solvents. So I'll pour some stuff in there, swish my stuff around. Usually in your cleaning kits you'll get like a little brush, you know, brush off all the paint, because you'll get a lot that collects right in the tip of your air cap here and on the little air horns. Get all the junk off of there, swish it around. And like I said in the other video, there's all these little holes in the cap. You want to make sure you hold it up to light so you make sure you can see through all those little holes, otherwise they'll get blocked and your gun won't spray properly. Behind the air cap is the next piece, which is called the fluid tip. If you decide to leave the needle in, or if you decide to take the fluid tip out before you remove the needle, you're going to want to hold the trigger back while you undo it. And the reason for that is the needle is tapered, the fluid tip is also tapered. The needle is being pushed forward into that taper by the spring, so you have metal on metal. Well, if it's just coming in and out, it's fine. If you have that spring pushing it forward and you start unscrewing that fluid tip, you're actually rubbing metal on metal. So you can wear a groove or an edge or get a burr either on the needle itself or inside the fluid tip, and that will or can affect the way your gun sprays. So again, with the fluid tip, you know, slosh it around in your solvent, get all the stuff out of it. I have this little pipe cleaner with the things on the end. I'll stick it down in there, make sure, you know, all the holes are clear. Same thing, you know, if you want to remove the needle, take it out, wipe it down with a rag. Get inside here in the little mixing area. And then what I like to do is with a blowgun, I'll blow out both directions, because any little lint that's left behind by this rag, you want to get that out of there. It took me a while to figure it out, but I was doing a guy's motorcycle and I had to redo the tank because I neglected to thoroughly get the lint out of it, and I started spraying and there was like all these little hairs from the rags. So what I usually do is I'll clean the gun, I'll blow it out, store it, and just before I use it, I'll blow it all out again. When you put the tip back on, the fluid tip, you don't have to crank the crap out of it. Usually you'll have one of these wrenches. Just give it just a snug, that's all you need. And then obviously the tip goes back, or the air cap goes back on. And then when I get everything all back together, I'll usually just dump just a hair of solvent back in it, swish it around one last time, just blow it through with the air hose on, just to clean out any last little bit, and I'll blow it out one more time. I like to keep my guns as clean as they came out of the box brand new as possible. And then again, you're just going to want to wipe off all the stuff from your lid. Now, the whole time you're doing this, you want to make sure you're wearing really good gloves, solvent resistant gloves. As I said in another video, this stuff is real nasty and it will soak into your skin and your nails, and you don't want that stuff getting into your bloodstream if possible. And I just want to reiterate, don't dump this down your drain. We've got enough pollution in the world, so dispose of it properly. Dumping it down your drain doesn't make it disappear. It just ends up in the water supply. So that's basically it in a nutshell. A clean gun is a happy gun. If you let stuff harden in it, it's going to be harder to clean down the road, especially with clear coats, because clear coat is if you've ever, I'm sure you've dealt with it, or maybe you haven't, I don't know. It's really gummy and gooey, and the longer you let it sit in there, it has a hardener. It's going to harden up and it gets rock hard in your gun, and it's almost impossible to get out. So as soon as you're done spraying your clear coat, you know, as long as you're satisfied with what you've sprayed and you know you're not going to need your gun anymore, clean it out pretty much right away. Get it as clean as you can. That way the next time you need to use it, it's pretty much ready to go.